and we're preparing to go live, and we are live. Greetings, family. Welcome to another Ujamma Day, Wednesday, Sista Shanice show. As you can see, I've got my guests in the house, and we are so excited about the show that we're going to be bringing to you today. We have our brother Kwame Gonza, who's not a stranger to the Sista Shanice show. Welcome back, Kwame Gonza. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Sista Shanice, and greetings to all the viewers. It's going to be a remarkable show today. We're going to let people know about the African Continental Unity Party. This is a force that has been around for the last 4 years, but looking at the geopolitical events and what is happening across the world, we are intensifying our efforts in fighting for the interests of the African people. So for us, it means fighting everything that is standing in the way for African people to make progress and holding the African people back. So this is what we have come to deliberate on and, let the people know what the African Continental Unity Party is and what we have in store for the reconstruction of the African continent. So thank you so much for inviting me and my colleagues to the program. Thank you so much, Sister Shanice.
Look forward to the conversation. We've got Mafelo in the house. Welcome, our brother. How are you doing?
Yes, thank you so much, Ndlovukazi. I call you Ndlovukazi. That's queen in Zulu language. African elephant, your majesty. Greetings to your listenerships. Yes, sons and daughters of the continent in the house. We are excited as well what Africa is going through and the next move for Africa to take. Yeah, we're looking forward to this discussion. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. I'm certainly looking forward to hearing what you have to say to us this evening as well. And we also have our beautiful Gifty in the house. Welcome, Gifty. How are you? Please take yourself off mute. Yes.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm very well. How are you too? And I want to say hello to your viewers now. Just a female and a young lady in this freedom fighting season. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are delighted to have you on board. Family, as you come through the house, please do let us know that you're in our audience. Let us know where in the world you're actually viewing us from. I'm just going to try and make sure that we're live. I can see us on the computer. I'm going to get us here on my phone because I need the link so that I can be posting it in the background. Well, family, what a day it has been today. Woo! For everybody in America, I don't know, some people expected these results. Some people may be still in shock about the results today. And what I'd like to do is to find out from my guests what their thoughts are about the results of today's elections in America. Yes, of course, that's what I'm talking about. The results. Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris by a landslide. The people turned out and they vote convincingly for Donald Trump. You know, so there's some of us who think that he was cheated last time round and he really won the elections from Biden the last time. He certainly believed that he did. I'll hear what my guests think on that as well. So this time, his voters made sure that they came out, every single last one of them. He said in his speech today that he got votes from the African Americans, from the Muslims, probably because of the war in Gaza. He got support from the from the American Asians. He got support, obviously, from all of his rednecks. He said that he got support from all corners, from the Latinos, from all corners of society. Now, the mainstream media was totally against Trump, weren't they? The Gabal-led, media, they focused on Kamala Harris. They gave her 80% of all of the news airplay. They were for her. They gave you the impression that she was going to win. I mean, they thought that they were controlling the views and the opinions of the American public. They must be in shock today to realize the extent to which they no longer have control over the minds of the American public. What was it about Trump that has brought about this landslide victory where not only has he got the popular vote across the entire country, he's got the Senate, the White House, the judge's house. I mean, everything that could be won, he won it hands down. My brother Kwame, were you watching the election process at all? I mean, let's hear your thoughts and opinions about this result. Take yourself off mute. Let's hear from Kwame Gonza briefly, and then we'll go around the board. Oh, we just lost Kwame there. Okay. Oh, no, you're back.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sista Shanice. It's very interesting. This is the hottest news that is happening across the world today. The victory of Trump and the fact that he has been able to win the vote and convincingly. I mean, convincingly, he has been able to win it. The Senate, they have taken the Senate and the House of Representatives. Also, the Republicans have taken it. So it is a convincing victory. But this, what it signifies, there's a couple of things what this shows in itself, that the world is changing. And as we have mentioned, and many other people across the world, prominent people across the world have mentioned, people like President Xi Jinping of the People's Republic of China have said that the changes that are happening today have never happened, in the last 100 years. So he said this when he was in Russia. I think it was last year when he went to meet President Putin. So it plays very much in also our hands as Pan-Africanists, in what we have been observing for this long, since 2020, that there's something really big that is happening. So these forces, they are not only leading to changes within the colonized world, oppressed world, but even within the imperialistic camp itself. These contradictions, you see them playing out. So the people themselves within are tired of the hypocrisy of the mainstream politicians, as we know that Trump is not your typical politicians. But of course, this does not mean that it's good for us as African people. I think that we have to make it very clear. But the people are expressing that disappointment. The fact that Trump was voted by, Africans in the United States, the so-called African Americans, he was voted by Muslims. They are looking at how these people, the likes of Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, how these people have destroyed the world, and they are seeing, they are seeing that something new has to be done. So what they are saying, what they're communicating in this vote, the American people, is that we are willing to try out anything, even if it is the worst option that is there. We are willing to try it out, other than continuing the same, group that is continuing the destruction and sending weapons to Gaza, to Israel to destroy Gaza, Obama sending drones in Somalia and banning, of course, African media like African Stream, sending weapons to Ukraine. So it's destruction all over after destroying, Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, and all these. And it's the same group. So the American people themselves, what they're telling us also is that they don't want the United States to be involved in the affairs of other countries. That era is over, and many people actually have been saying it. Many commentators like Farid Zakaria, who is a prominent mainstream commentator, who spoke and said that America has reached a point where it cannot continue to expand itself in what he called imperial overreach. So this imperial overreach is costing the United States more than it is gaining from this engagement with the world, and this aggressive, not a good engagement with the world, but an aggressive engagement with the world. So the American people are saying that they need their country back, and that is why you are seeing that Trump, this is the narrative that he has been pushing around: America, make America great again, America first. All right, let other people take care of the other countries, their countries, and let us also take care of our countries. What this presents to us as Pan-Africanists, I think that it is predictability. We are going to have predictability because we know what Trump, does. When he wants something, he says it as it is. If we remember that he called African countries and the other Caribbean countries, he called them, a very dangerous word, which he said is the shithole countries. But of course, what he did not say is that the United States has been pivotal to making these countries shithole countries. The United States has greatly contributed to making these places shithole countries. So that is the problem, of course, with these imperialistic countries, neo-colonial countries, that they will mention corruption in our countries, but they will not tell you that in 2024, this very year, the African Development Bank came out with a report which is saying that Africa is losing about $600 billion from the continent. And at the top of the people who are stealing the money up to $275 billion is Western corporations. They're the ones who are leading the looting of the African continent. They will not tell you that. So that is the irony of the Western narrative, that when they talk about corruption, for example, they don't mention how much they are stealing from us. They always push it on us alone, that we are the ones who are destroying our own lives. When they say it is a shithole country, like what Trump says, they don't say how much the CIA has interrupted the African continent and killed the African leaders who want it. So they say Africa's problem is the problem of leadership. Africa's problem at the top of it is not really leadership, but imperialism and aggression that is, disturbing the continent. That every time we get a good leader, Magufuli, the Nkurumas, the Sobukwes, the Lumumbas, the Sankaras, imperialism comes and takes them out and kills them. So these, they don't mention them. So I think that it is very important for these to be also put out there. But on the whole, Trump presents for us an opportunity of predictability to understand what the United States is going to do. Unlike people like Obama, who comes and then he hugs Gaddafi, and he hugs other African leaders, and then within a month he comes and attacks you with, missiles and bullets and whatever it is, jets, military jets, and they destroy the whole country. So this is what Obama is. So these people, they don't only represent hypocrisy, with of course all their institutions, including the media, which Trump has, vividly say that it is corrupt. The media in the United States is corrupt. We are not the ones saying this, because we have been saying it for a very long time, but many people have not been believing us, maybe because we are Africans. But a whole United States president has come out to say that the United States media is corrupt, is completely corrupt. So this should go out there to other Africans to understand that platforms like this, like Sista Shanice's show, they represent what Africa should be, or what Africans should be saying, or the African narrative. Even though these platforms may be blackballed, sometimes they look at us in a certain way. They manipulate the algorithm so that these channels will not come out there to broadcast to African people. So African people have to understand that if a United States president, Trump, comes out and says that this system is corrupt, it is corrupt. He has spoken about it repeatedly, that Washington, Capitol Hill, they are corrupt. Those people are corrupt. The Democrats are corrupt. And of course, he did not say only the Democrats, but even the Republicans themselves. We saw George Bush and Dick Cheney and all these guys. So the system is corrupt in Washington and all over, European capitals. And so the African people have to understand this. So this presents to us an opportunity to struggle, and knowing that the puppets which are on the continent are not going to be protected by anyone, because Trump doesn't like them and completely tells them what they are. All right. And he tells them that you can't come here and spend money, your people's money in our countries and stuff like that. So there's a predictability. That is what I see. That is an advantage for us as an African group of people, internationally. So we need to get our act together and, of course, wage a more, intensified struggle for the liberation of the African continent for all African people across the world.
Thank you so much for that very, insightful analysis, Brother Kwame. Yes, I have to agree with all of what you said there. And so we have, you say, predictability with Donald Trump. He is going to be focusing on putting America first and making America great. That means less meddling in external affairs, and that is why he has been put there. His people are fed up with America meddling in other countries' affairs, assassinating leaders, dropping bombs, spending trillions on war and destabilization, etc., whilst the people are drowning in poverty at home. And so what they're going to get from Trump now is improved quality of life. And it means that it's an opportunity for the continent now to concentrate on getting their act together and their house in order. Something that you said there was really interesting, actually, that I hadn't considered. And it's at the moment, we're used to these puppet leaders, we can't even call them leaders. We have to call them misleaders. We have to call them these treasonous, treacherous ones who are in the position of leadership on the continent. Up until now, they've been getting the protection, haven't they, of the American government, the American CIA, etc., the mercenaries, etc., etc. Well, you know, Trump may well be recalling those people, and he might be looking into the budget and the financing of this level of corruption and interference that's happening around the world. And so these treasonous, treacherous leaders of ours may not be in that comfortable position that they have been up until now. I hadn't considered that. That's a very good observation there. And we certainly hope that that is the case. Let their rear ends be exposed so that, you know, they can be forced to do what Donald Trump is doing, and that's doing the work to make sure that their country is great and their country, and that they are serving the interests of their people first and foremost. Thank you so much for those opening remarks there, Brother Kwame. Let's go over to our brother Mafanello with that opening question there. Have you been following the USA election process? And if so, what's your view of the results and the implications for Africa, the young side of Africa?
Certainly, Ndlovukazi, Queen. We have been watching closely because we know, you know, U.S. news affects the entire globe. You know, if you look at the United Nations, U.S. and France and Britain, they are big bullies on a global arena. They terrorize every, you know, institution of democracy. They dictate each direction. So now Trump makes a lot of noise, you know. So maybe first we should congratulate him, just like any other, you know, in a democratic dispensation, we have to acknowledge all the leaders that rise through the system and say congratulations to them for their victory as they celebrate. But for us, then it's really mixed feeling for Africa. As King, you know, Kwame is saying there, Africa then has an opportunity to understand that they're not going to get the support, you know, from the US. But also it just presents an opportunity for us to, you know, look into ourselves as Africa. And, you know, there are a lot of other, you know, US is losing ground. We're no longer living in a unipolar world. We live in a multipolar world now, you know. We have relationship with global South, which is growing. Trade is growing. Relationship. We even coming up with our own payment systems. We're no longer going to depend on SWIFT. We're going to have our own reserve currency. We can trade in our own currencies. So really, the days of the West bullying Africa is gone. So it's almost irrelevant for Africa who then sits on that seat, you know, because we have an agenda to detach ourselves from that umbilical cord. We're no longer gone are the days where Africa is looking for, you know, freebies, aid, you know, really, you know, the West is becoming irrelevant. The dollar is falling. In fact, it's crumbling. You know, just like the pound has been crumbling, just like the euro is crumbling. So really, all of that is an opportunity for Africa to rise and fill the space, you know. And, you know, there's never been a ripe time for us as sons and daughters of this continent to look at ourselves and consolidate and encourage solidarity and say, guys, we can no longer look to the West for solutions for Africa. Let's look back in who we are and let's consider alternatives. Ubuntu. You know, the world cannot dictate, you know, democracy as a language or neoliberal policies of governments, you know, and we just follow. Our leaders, you know, I hear King Kwame is talking a lot of puppet leaders. So gone are the days where we want our leaders to be, you know, running into the jets, rushing into the West. We now want them to do something different, you know. before they cross the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean. We want them to, you know, be firm and assert themselves on the continent, look inside, and perhaps start looking more to the east. You know, we have more positive relationships with the east rather than the west because, you know, it's peaceful, it's less hostile, it's equal relationship. We're treating each other like that. So yeah, there's a mixed feeling really with Trump, but one of the things that I think tipped the scale is that Trump comes across what is positive for him. I remember his last term, he shaked things a bit with the American Federal Reserve Bank, you know, moving it back into the control of the government. And he also, you know, challenged the issues about abortion. You know, sometimes these liberal policies are destroying families. So that's the reality. So you can't be encouraging young people to be actually going for abortion when you are using your media to actually, you know, encourage them to, you know, sleep around and be more sexually explicit in the media, in the movies, in the, you know, you are encouraging them to do that, but then the next thing you want to do is, you know, let's do abortions, you know. So that does not build a nation. That we can't build a nation like that. So I think it was just a matter of time that American citizens will realize that you know, we like freedom, but there's a limit to it. There's a responsibility, you know. So I think from that point of view, we watch and see the space because we also now hear, you know, Trump was always aggressive towards China, is always aggressive towards Russia, is always aggressive towards Africa. So I don't know how he's going to respond with BRICS, but BRICS is here and he's moving on. So if he, you know, he doesn't play his card right, you know, that may be the fall of US as we know it, because things may accelerate. Why the solidarity of Africa and BRICS will accelerate when he becomes more hostile. And I think perhaps that's a good thing for us so that we have sovereignty, you know. So maybe it's a good time for Africa. We must celebrate and rejoice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much, Mfanelo, for your thoughts and opinions there. Gifty, do you think that you know, Africa is rising and has the potential to rise? And is this the time for Africa to be focusing on itself, focusing inwardly now, and you know, be looking to advance? Is it time for Africa to now see countries like America and the West as irrelevant and start focusing in on itself? Please take yourself off mute so we can hear your thoughts.
Okay, thank you very much for this question. I personally think that yes, it is time for Africa to focus because I would say that we've been too relaxed. So this is the time for us to be focused. I mean, liberate ourselves from this people and all that. Bring together our resources and then build the Africa we'll all be proud of. So it is very much time for us all to focus on Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you heard it there from the young people family. It's time to focus on Africa. It's time for Africa to rise. It's time for Africa to see America and the West as irrelevant. And
Sister Shanice, I wanted to drop in one more point there.
Go ahead. And then
just before we go to the intro, you know, to the introduction of the African Continental Unity Party, which we have come to talk about here extensively and what it is, and me myself being the current rotating chair of the African Continental Unity Party, we have a leadership structure, an extensive structure, which is leading our global movement and at national level. A very sophisticated system of leadership, which we think that will be able even to lead the continent going forward once we take power. But before we go to that, I would like to say that Trump's victory, even though us as Africans, we need to be, of course, alert and careful, and we need to be very clear. I need also to be very clear on this. that Trump does not represent anything good for us, all right? And certainly not for the people in Gaza, who are suffering under the brutal, occupation of Israel and colonialism and genocide. It doesn't represent anything good for us as Africans. But what we are saying and what we said is that he represents some form of predictability. Because you remember that Malcolm X said that he respects a man who comes, in front of him with a knife, and he says, I don't like you, I want to fight you. And this is where Malcolm X actually compared the liberals and the conservatives in the United States. And he said that the liberals are hypocrites, all right? They are complete hypocrites. And so he respects the conservatives who say they don't like you. I don't like you, the black man. So he knows where the man stands. So he said that I respect the man who tells me where he stands than the one who tells me that I like you and goes in the back and stabs me with a knife in the back. And he stabs me the knife about 6 inches. He pulls it out 1 inch and says that he has done something good for me because he has pulled the knife out about 5 inches when about 1 inch when 5 inches is still inside. So this is what we are seeing, that Trump represents that form of a little bit of predictability because he's a conservative. He tells you that I don't like you and it is what it is. You deal with it. He tells you that I'm going to come and attack you and you prepare yourself. I'm going to fight him. So the people are tired of that, and they're tired of the incompetency. So his emergency also represents the fact that the system that has been imposed on the world is incompetent. I was listening to one political commentator called Neil Ferguson, who he predicted that Trump is going to win. He was speaking in Australia recently. He's a historian and a political commentator. People can go out and search for Neil Ferguson. He said that the politicians in Washington, they are out of touch with the interests of the American people, all right? Completely out of touch. They are pushing things which don't really matter. The people are bothered with the economy. They care about the economy. Their economic lives are declining, as we have seen homelessness in California, Los Angeles. We have seen on Skid Row that people are going, people are being homeless, are being pushed into homelessness. But these people are concentrating on abortion and all these things, which really don't matter. All right, they don't really matter, these things, to the people. People want to be preoccupied with improving their lives economically, and this is what Trump, of course, said. So it represents the incompetency, of the system that is being pushed around, and it's the same system that is being pushed, unfortunately, in Africa. So this is an opportunity for us to grab this and articulate as African Continental Unity Party and other movements of the continent, to grab this opportunity and also articulate to our people that this is the same system that has been rejected. From where it is coming from, it has been rejected. So do not allow these people to impose it on us as African people also. So we have that great opportunity, to articulate the incompetence of the system. It's a failed system. It's a failed system. So that is what Trump has shown, because, and of course, this brings into play also what you mentioned when we were, backdoor, behind that it is possible that Trump, this actually confirms that Trump's election was stolen that last time, that they stole the election. And this man has not been lying. He has been consistent, and he has refused to back down from the fact that his election was stolen. So this is also what this signifies, that it is true. So this is a confirmation that Trump's election was stolen last time. These establishment, the political establishment, wanted to protect themselves. They tried to save themselves with all kinds of ways, because at first when Trump won, it was sort of a shock. It shocked everyone, all right? But this time, it will not shock them. I mean, this time it did not shock many as it did the first time, all right? Because people went out there and voted. He won everything. He swept everything from the majority to the electoral college, to the House of Representatives, to the Senate, everything he won it. So it is a confirmation that there is cheating. The system is corrupt, as he has said, that it is corrupt. The media is corrupt. So this is an opportunity for us as Africans to interpret this to our people on the continent, that you see what is happening here. this is a corrupt system, and the same system that is being imposed, that like people like Nana Addo and all these puppets like Buhari, who have been in Nigeria, Tinubu, and all these puppets that are going across the continent. So I think that this is an opportunity, a great opportunity for the Pan-African forces to consolidate, to and push forward for the African Revolution.
Important point there, absolutely, that you've added. The failure of the American system, even the people of even the Americans themselves have voted against the system, because Donald Trump doesn't stand for the system. Donald Trump, he speaks up and out against the system. And so, this is what the people have said that they wanted. They're fed up with being ignored, as a population. We've seen them come out in their millions sometimes campaigning against certain issues, and they have just been ignored. But, audience, if you think we've been ignoring you, I haven't. I know you're there, and I want to thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to give us a thumbs up, give us a like. Let's see who we've got in the house. We've got Sister Karen in the house. Hotep, Sister Karen, good to have you in the house. We've got Mondele in the house. Yenge Mpimpa Kiambote, Sister Shanice, greetings to our very African panel members. Salute fellow chat sharers. And the Congo Leopard is here in the UKKK. Rise up, Congo Leopard. Great to have you in the house. And we have the African ACUP in the house. Kabbalah is in the house from South Africa. Rise up, brother Kabbalah. Another powerful brother. Please make sure that you all click on that channel there and follow our brother Kabbalah, who stands up and says, I am not a Ghanaian, I am not a Zimbabwean, I am not a South African, I am an African. He says, rise up. My beloved brother, no stranger to this platform. Good to know you're in the house. We're going to rise up, Sister Karen, who says we elected a criminal. Oh, yes, of course. They were so desperate to try and remove him from the electoral race. How many criminals? I think they made about 30 charges against him, threatened him with prison. He was in court. They were scandalizing him in the newspapers, but none of that worked. The people of America just saw through the lies of the media. They saw what the cabal, what the anti people were trying to do. And they were like, no, Trump stands for us. He stands for the people. He knows what the people want, and we want him. And despite the power that they have had up until now to influence the minds of the people through the media saw through all their tactics. And yes, he's been criminalized by the system. To what extent is he a criminal? I don't know. So share your thoughts on that in the chat. So rise up, Karen, for that. And yes, a lot of blacks like Trump. That's right. I mean, Trump said that he's been looking at the statistics, and he can see, and he was even surprised saying this, African Americans voted for me. He said, American Indians voted for me. He's like, the Latinos voted for me. He said, the Muslims voted for me. He's like in a state of shock. He says, in fact, this is a party of unity. We've been able to unify America more than any other party, he says. And that's because, he's generally a politician who's anti-war. And they're hoping that he will now make strides to stop the war in Israel against the Palestinians, and that he will stop the war in Ukraine, and that he will not be starting any new wars. Rise up, 6 foot. Good to have you in the house from Birmingham Strong in the UKKK. Rise up, Sister S.A. Smith in the house as well. We have Brother Kwame Oboje in the house. Welcome, my beloved. We've got Keep Fit in the house as well. Health is wealth. Revolutionary greetings from Ghana. This is Jehovah's. We love Africa. Rise up, rise up. I was probably saying, what's that? Jehovah's. Apologies if I've messed that up. Brother Kwame is greeting each and every one of us. Rise up, Betty. Good to have you in the house as well. Audio book. Good to have you in the house as well. We want to rise up. Sister Ujamma in the house from Ghana as well. She said, watching from Ghana, the link was not sent out for the show this evening. I was posting a link, beloved, while my guests were doing their opening remarks. Or are you telling me that YouTube is not sending the link out to my subscribers? I know I get subscribers telling me this all the time, that I'm no longer coming up on their feed. They're not getting the links to let them know that I've gone live. This is, YouTube, because they've like blacklisted or shadow banned my channel. This is the sort of thing they do. They hide the real statistics. They block the channel. They download my videos and remove and delete my videos, and they demonetized my station about 2 years ago, hoping that would make me just pack up and go away. But I'm still here, like the little two pennies can do anything. But family, this is what we're up against. This is what we're up against. So just know, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. UK time, we go live. And we're talking about the issues that are impacting us as Africans, wherever we are on the globe. Rise up, African ACU, and good to have you in the house. Let's see who else we've got in the house. S.A. Smith says, I really do not understand how Africans can embrace someone like Trump. I don't think he was saying they are shithole countries because he hopes they get better. I don't think anyone is saying that either, S.A. I think everyone here is saying that Trump is all for his people, primarily white people who look like him. And his aim is to pull them up. And by pulling them up, maybe it will help to uplift some of the Africans who are already at the bottom as well, and things won't be as difficult for them. But, either way, now that Trump's in power, the African Americans know without a doubt that he's not for them. So they're going to have to organize. They're going to have to start pulling themselves up. They're going to have to start doing for self. They can't be sitting back and relying on the state to do anything for them, because Trump certainly won't be looking out for their interests. We will be right at the very back of the queue in that regard. Let's do a couple more comments, and then we're going to go around the audience, around the panel, and I'll ask each of my panel members to introduce themselves, and then we're going to go into the topic for conversation. S.A. Smith says to Kwame Aboje, I don't know, some that like he is bold and speaks his mind. If someone says they do not like me to my face, does not mean I want to invite them in my house. Okay, we hear what you're saying on that. S.A. Smith just can't understand how and why African Americans even considered voting for Trump, even though he said, the Africans are shithole, they don't like our countries. They're like, why would you want to vote for him? I just don't understand it. Well, you know what? The alternative was to vote for Kamala Harris, a black woman. But I think, one of the reasons why black men in particular queued to vote for Donald Trump, turned out to vote for Donald Trump. This is a segment of the population that doesn't normally vote, yeah? But the black men lined up, queued up, turned out to vote for Donald Trump in opposition to Kamala Harris because of her awful track record when she was a state prosecutor. She was locking up black men like it was going out of fashion, and they punished her for that at the polling booths, I think. Afri, good to have you in the house. Say, that's my lovely sister Giffy in the house. D. Francis, welcome. Welcome is welcome now, says Kings and Queens, Mandela. Rise up, rise up. Good to have each and every one of you in the house. Keep the comments coming in. I will go back to your comments in a little while. Just got to bring the last one here for now. Sheriff S is in the house and says, big up everyone in the chat and the panel. Blessed love to Dr. Shanice. Jill Steen would have been the humanitarian vote. Cornell West, too busy calling everybody brother, including the enemy. That's getting a bit deep for me in terms of the names of certain people in America, but there's conversations going on there as well. Brother Kwame is saying, Brother Kwame, Baba Malcolm labels Republicans as wolves and Democrats as foxes. Rise up, Jack. Good to have you in the house, tuned in. And we big you up. Your Earth Day is this coming strong end. Jack Iron is one of the presenters on the Big G Galaxy Afiwi, the only de-brainwashing radio station, the one radio station that talks the talk as it is, and its aim is to de-brainwash. You can get the Big G Galaxy Afiwi on the internet. So I'll drop the link in the chat in a little while. He says, Mahat Hotep, sharing is caring for those that keep their voice in a whisper, as we told to be quiet. Don't talk that nonsense. It would get you hurt or in trouble. Please share the link. So he's saying share the link. You know, we as a people, we've been told to shut up and keep quiet, but he says we've got to speak up and speak out. So rise up, Sheriff S in the house, rise up, Jack Ian, Brother Kwame, and everybody in the house. Sister Denise in the house from Chicago, we welcome you. We've got a global audience in the house. I will be coming back. We've got Kweshi Collins in the house as well. Welcome, welcome. So we welcome each and every one of you. Please do drop your messages in the chat. I will be going back to the chat in a little while. I'm going to go around the board now. I'm going to ask each of our members just to very briefly introduce themselves, and then we're going to go into the topic of conversation today, starting with Giffy, our beautiful sister Giffy on the panel today. Please introduce yourself to us, young princess.
Okay, thank you once again, and hello to all viewers. I'm Gifty Kloyo by name, and I'm a Ghanaian. I'm the head communicator for ACUP, African Continental Unity Party, Ghana chapter. So basically that is a brief intro about me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's go over to Brother Kwame Gonzo for a brief introduction. Take yourself off mute. Let's please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you very much, Sister Shanice. My name is Kwame Gonza. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm currently the rotating chairperson of the African Continental Unity Party, which is an organization that is trying to reorganize Africa and reorient Africa, take Africa in the in the right direction. We strongly believe that the African continent is going in a completely wrong direction, and we have the solutions. We have the plan to take Africa in the right direction. So that is currently the organization to which I belong. I've appeared on different platforms in the past, platforms like SABC News of South Africa, or Oromia Broadcasting Network in Ethiopia. And in all this, we are there to talk about, even TV Africa in Ghana, we're there to talk about Africa and how we should make Africa better. So we've been in the field for quite some time now as followers of the likes of Honorable Marcus Garvey, followers of the likes of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Malcolm X, Dr. King, all the great Black people out there, you know, the Queen Nzingas, you know, the Amy Ashwood Garvey, the Winnie Mandela. So all these, we believe they're strong people, George Padmore, Walter Rodney. So all these, we believe that they laid a strong foundation upon which the African continent should be built. We believe that the continent should not be built on the ideas of Obama and Hillary Clinton, which currently is the case as we are seeing, but rather we should reorient the continent and take it back into the image of what our forefathers wanted to see on the African continent. How did they want to see the African people behaving on the continent? Which kind of development, which kind of lives, what is the presentation if we present ourselves as Africans? What did Marcus Garvey want to see? What did Nkrumah want to see when Nkrumah, or Robert Sobukwe, what did he want to see when Nkrumah talks about the African personality and identity? What does he mean? So these, we believe, are core to ourselves as a people, and therefore the African continent is supposed to be built on these values. These values are supposed to be symbolic, you know, they are supposed to be evident in all that we do, whether it is development, industrialization. There's supposed to be some element of African personality, music and all this, economy, there should be some element of African personality. So this is what the SUP is about, which we have come
we're going to
talk
go
about
into
strongly.
that in a very
Thank
little
you.
while. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. You know, when I start talking about the SUP and the fact that
I know. I just wanted you to introduce
the continent is going in the
yourself.
wrong direction. The continent is going. So let me stop there so that we can hear from King.
Thank you. And
Thank
we
you so
will be
much.
coming back to you. All righty, no problem. Let me just give our brother Mfanelio, sorry, my apologies, Mfanelio, an opportunity to introduce himself to us.
Thank you, Ndlovukazi. Yes, this is Mfanelo Ndlovu. I am joining you from South Africa, in the most beautiful city, Cape Town. It's the third most beautiful city in the world. So yes, you are all free sons and daughters of this kingdom to come and visit your own continent, and touch the soil of this beautiful land. It's warm, it's beautiful. We are great to have all of you part of this conversation tonight. We are excited ourselves, where we're going. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your invitation to South Africa as well. I could get sidetracked and have a whole show just talking about South Africa, but maybe we'll do that on another day and we'll invite you back for that conversation, beloved. Family in the chat, just to let you know, I've posted the link to Galaxy Amphibian Radio. Please do copy the link. Make sure you've got it in your phone, save it, and log in. You can catch me on a Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. UK time. And if you like talk shows, we have talk shows on Sunday, nearly all day on Sunday, talk shows Saturday morning, talk shows in the early parts of the day most days, and we have music shows as well. So just keep clicking that link and make a note of the shows that you would want to listen to. It's at the same time every strong. Some say weak, we say strong. Okay, I forgot to bring my tissue today. Now we're going to go into the topic. Well, in just 2 seconds, we're going to go into the topic of conversation today. Just to remind you, if you haven't already got a copy of my book, please do get my book, The Remarkable Accomplishments of Us as Africans from Ancient Times. I mean, we laid the foundation for civilization across the world. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to get a copy of the book. Okay, now we've got our guests in the studio today because we're going to be talking about the ACUP, the African Unity Continental Party. I interrupted Brother Kwame Gonza there as he was ready to start talking about it. So I'm going to go back to Kwame Gonza to kick off the conversation now today to tell us who are the ACUP, what does it stand for, my beloved?
Sister Shanice, allow me to ask Queen Gift to come first, as they always say, ladies first, and then I'll come in after she's. Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, King Gonza, for allowing me go first. Thank you very much. I would say SCUP stands for African Continental Unity Party. SCUP is a continental-wide political party, but much more than a political party. It is a movement driven by a strong ideology, and it is currently sweeping the continent of Africa, bringing together all Africans, especially the youth. I'm here as a youth myself, to be able to speak with one voice, and then with a common mission to actually create or develop the Africa we all want. Yes, so if we say ACUP, it simply stands for African Continental Unity Party. So that is something brief about ACUP. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So let's go over. Do you want us to go back to you now, Brother Kwame, or should we go over to
Yes. So I want to add to what Queen Gift has said. Also add my part. So the party she has mentioned is the African Continental Unity Party, ACUP, or what you can in the other way call it Acup. It is actually African Continental Unity Party and the Rapid Africa Transformation Project. And this is simply because we already have a plan for, transforming the continent. We are not your typical political party, because I understand that people may think that, okay, it's a normal political party. But as we have given you our background, we are Nkrumahist. We have our own ideology, which is based on the ideas of our forefathers, and we have our own economic systems. We have, a plan which is broken down, or which is put together. When we break it down, but at the same time, if we put it together, is what we are calling the Rapid Africa Transformation Project. So what this means is that the SUP understands that what we are facing is a huge challenge, is what is called purloining, or somebody is coveting our power as a people. Therefore, the SUP is seeking to bring back that power to the African people in what we call building a power base. We want to build a power base first, because we understand that without power, there's nothing you can do. And that is the point right there. The exploitation has been going on because power is in the hands of the wrong people, of course, who are working with the foreigners. So we want to take that power back to the African people, and then we can be able to implement our plan. What is our plan? Our plan is the rapid reconstruction of the continent. We believe it can be done, and it can be done rapidly. Just to give you an understanding of what I'm saying, the African Union has said in their Agenda 2063 that in 2063, which is almost 40 years from now, they want the African continent to be around $29 trillion. To give you a picture, the United States currently is around $24 trillion, which is the richest country, in the world currently. But what we are saying for us as the African Continental Unity Party, we think that this is an understatement, and it doesn't really reflect Africa's richness and capacity, the capacity of its people, the fact that the people are very educated. So what we are saying is that the continent can be rebuilt in less than 20 years to a GDP of around $60 trillion in less than 20 years. So we think that we have to solve the basics first, the basics first, which have not been solved. And of course, this we can speak of things like the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which is a project by the African Union. This project, we think that the way it is being implemented, it doesn't make sense, on the whole. It's not going to be realized in reality. Even though they are implementing, they are trying, on their side. If you look at people like the Secretary General Wamkele, who's leading the project, but if we don't have the basics, then you're not gonna achieve much. So what the African Continental Unity Party is saying is that once we get power, we want to concentrate on 3 key parts, which we want to solve first, even before we talk about trade. Number 1, transportation. We have a railway project, a continental railway project, which we have already presented even to the African continent, African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat itself in Accra. We went there and did a presentation. The richest man in Africa, who has the biggest shipping line, we have also presented this project to him, and he himself he has a partnership. This man is called Mark Dan. He's in Ghana. He has ships. He has a shipping company. He has said publicly, even though he has a partnership with the African Continental Free Trade Area, he has said publicly that without a transportation system, the African Continental Free Trade Area is not going to succeed. So this is what the man has said, who is already involved in logistics and transportation. So we are presenting the idea that before you talk about trade, we need a railway platform across the African continent. Number 2, we are talking about a communication platform for the continent, which will come together with the railway. Just to give you an example, when the United States in the 1860s under Lincoln, they were building their continental railway platform under President Lincoln, which was called the Transcontinental Railway Network in the United States, which connected the East and the West. They laid a telegram, system, which is a communication system along the train. So this is what we want to replicate, because until then, the United States was also a poor country. It did not get all this development, which it had. It did not spring up and massive development, started across the country. It did not achieve that until they established, a continental railway platform, which connected almost the whole country from the east to the west, and then they added others. So this is what we are seeing as the African Continental Unity Party, that we have to implement this plan and we need the support of everyone. Everyone has to, to have hands on the deck, all Africans on the continent, all Africans in the diaspora, because we believe, especially the diaspora, they have to play a major role in this particular project that we are trying to carry out. So we get power, we build a railway platform, we put up a communication platform along the railway platform, and then number 3, last one, we need to build energy systems across the continent. You look at countries like Sierra Leone, only 12% of people have access to energy. Look at countries like Uganda, even though they say they have made, success, they have made progress there. Only 30% of the people have access to electricity. A whopping 70% don't have access to electricity. And even the most advanced economy on our continent, which is South Africa, has been having energy problems. So we believe that you cannot transform this continent if you are still in this kind of situation. So in the whole, the African Continental Unity Party is looking for power and is working strenuously to achieve these objectives, starting with Ghana, where we are located. We are in South Africa. We are in Sierra Leone. We are opening up space in Ethiopia. We are opening up space in Nigeria. So we are all over. And we understand, at the core of our understanding is that somebody has to take responsibility, and our people are ready. But again, we also understand that what is being done right now is wrong, and it has failed for the last 60 years. So that realization is there, and we are trying now to pull the African people to come to where we are so that they can understand that the things have not worked for a long time. Therefore, we need to change direction. The African Continental Unity Party is saying that we need to change direction. The financing of all these projects that we are talking about, we have a source that is going to finance all these projects. Like the railway project, which I spoke about, is about $150 billion, dollars. We know where to get this money, and it's not going to be begged from anyone. We are not going to go and be begging from the Europeans or the Chinese or the French or whoever it is, from the Americans. We have a clear point where we want to get this finance from, and is a clear point, is a must that it must be got. So everything is laid out. Now we are just looking for that partnership from the African people, because for a long time the continent has been misled, and that is why we are where we are, that even our production is very low. We are in chaotic situation. Our share of GDP, when you compare to the global GDP, which is around $104 trillion, we just have about 3.5 trillion, which is very less than 3%, even though our population is around 18% of the global population. So we are producing 6 times less than what we are supposed to be producing. Africa's economy currently should be around $18 trillion, but it's 3.5. So it shows you that we need to work 6 times, what we are doing today, in order for us to be where we are supposed to be. So that is the picture which we are seeing as the African Continental Unity Party. We are seeing explosion. We are seeing a lot of chaos across the African continent, and the situation has reached a critical point for us, looking at what is happening across the globe. So it is an urgent situation to which we are calling all African people to come so that we can work together in transforming our continent and removing it from the misleadership and misguidance where it is being taken by the current puppet leaders who are, many of them occupying the continent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So this is a party with a strategy. It's got its policies. It's got its plan. It's well thought through. Thank you so much for that. I mean, not only have you got your policy, your strategy, and your plan that you're out there marketing and promoting to the leaders of the African, or the misleaders, or the treacherous ones on the African continent, but also, this you have the skills on the continent to bring these transformational plans into fruition. It was just today on my show, in the Marmar University segment of the show, that we were talking about Philip Emeagwali. Now, Philip Emeagwali, if you know him, I mean, he is a serious, mathematician from Nigeria. He is the one who's responsible for developing the internet as we know it today. His brain was able to do the calculations far greater than the supercomputers that made the supercomputers even more super. He lined up something like 12 processors to operate in a parallel system in order to inform the supercomputers so that they could calculate, the huge, vast numbers, at such a speed that now when we click an email, zip, it's gone to the recipient at the other end of the world. We send a picture, you know, via WhatsApp and zip, you know, the computer can take it that fast to the other side of the world. So we've got the brains. And also, wasn't it in Ghana that you had the man who was responsible for the bullet train? So in terms of communications, you've got the brains. In terms of the bullet train and the transformational system, you know, you've got the skills and expertise. But all we need now is for those misleaders on the continent to see and recognize the talent and the skills of the people to be able to do what's needed. You know, in terms of the energy as well, you've got the great billionaire himself, who's built the new oil refinery system. What's his name? He's got the cement factory as well.
Aliko Dangote is called Aliko Dangote.
Yes, who's built that, you know, multi-billion-pound refinery engineering plant that can refine oil for the continent of Africa. All we need is for the misleaders to get out the way or start doing as Donald Trump is doing, focusing on making Africa great and recognizing the skills and talent that you've got to make Africa great. Brilliant transformational strategy and plan that you've outlined there that is absolutely critical. And also alongside the transport system, we need ports. You know, we need more ports around the continent of Africa as well for the importing and exporting, but mainly exporting of goods. Let me go over to our brother Mafanello now. Thank you so much, Brother Kwame. Yeah, can you tell us some more about the party in, because you presumably are part of the branch in South Africa?
Correct, Ndlovukazi. So not only that, I'm also part of the global leadership team. So we really feel that, you know, there's never been a ripe time for us, you know, to do what no generation has ever done before us. All of our ancestors looked forward to this day when her sons and daughters of this continent will unite and, you know, achieve African solidarity. We believe we can do it, and we believe we can do it not in 10 years' time. We can do it in this very next year, 2025. Therefore, we are on an expansion mode. We are collaborating with all other Pan-Africanist groups because we realize that the enemies have used divide and conquer as a strategy. So that means the only way to undo that is to reverse. So remove everything that divides us, you know. Let's forget the borders that they've put and the national flags they gave us. I'm quite not a South African. Neither is my brother up there, Ghanaian. We are just Africans. Neither are those who are in the Caribbean, you know, in Haiti, in Dominican Republic, in Jamaica, in, you know, so we are just Africans. We are sons and daughters of this soil, this continent. And quite frankly, as you would have done in your research, you know, life started in Africa. So we have so much to offer the world. In fact, the whole world has dependence solely on Africa. Because we just are blessed in and out in any case, because think about it right now, what is in our favor? We've got 1 in 4 is an African on the 8 billion population. Just imagine that solidarity of 2 billion of us scattered across the globe. If you were to evaluate that market, what would it be worth right now? You know, look at that buying power. Look at the intellectual property, as you rightfully say. You know, for in the global labor force, 2 in 4 is an African globally. So in other words, Africans are always building economies globally. It doesn't matter where you are, in Europe, in America. We build America. Think about those cotton farms. Think about the sugar cane industry in the Caribbean. Think about the steel industry in London. It was built on our labor. It was built on our muscles, the back of our strength. And think about the mineral that have been evacuated. I mean, King Kwame has just indicated that there's a serious capital outflow out of Africa, which, you know, it's super, super big, way far compared to the debt that Africa, you know, is supposedly it holds across the West. So really, we have abundance. We have been feeding the world our food, our cocoa, our shea butter. We have been giving the world our first grade crops, you know, fruits, you know, our game. They've been hunting our lions for free, for nothing, eating our fish, taking our ivories on our elephants. Where do those ivories go? They go to the West. So their museums are filled with our artifacts, you know, our intellectual property. You know, we were basically, you know, carving images of our kings with gold, pure gold, while they are still scrambling for rocks and things for tools. We were the first kings, you know. Think about it. Bloodlines of kings before they were even kings in Europe and Pope. They learned, you know, science, education, writing. We were writing before they even thought about it or even had an idea about it. So therefore, we have so much in abundance. Even so, while we've gone through all these, you know, atrocities that we've went through, whether slave trade, colonialism, whether, you know, neo-colonialism or now neoliberal policies that we are being subjected to, unfair global, you know, order, we are suppressed as Africa, because if you look at an African doctor working in Australia, he's paid less. If you look at the Australian doctor working in in Africa, he's paid more. So that means, what about color that makes a European doctor superior to an African doctor? What about an engineer that, you know, is an African engineer should be paid less? So, you know, the world has never treated us fairly, ever, since its foundation. It has always been hostile to us, especially the West. But we are still emerging stronger than ever before. If you look at the growth rate of Africa, the projection is that by 2100, Africa will dominate the globe anyway, without firing a single bullet, because the populations are declining in Europe. They are in crisis. They can't run. They don't have labor to run their factories. They depend on shipping labor from Africa now, or from Asia, India, and all of the world. I mean, literally, we are running call center for London in South Africa to collect debts for unpaid electricity bills and water bills for London people. Right now, they are looking at cheap labor here with our youth running that operation. They do not have workers for their factories. So their economies is not sustainable, because it was built on free labor and free mineral resources and produce from Africa. So that is no longer sustainable. So Africa has everything in its favor. You know, if you look at the four factors of you know, production in the economics, it's natural resources, right? Which we have got abundance of. We have got abundance of water, river, diversity of fauna, flora, genetic diversity of people, brains scattered across we've got human resource, we've got natural resource. What more do we need? The only thing that has been oppressing us is unjust laws that they wrote themselves, from ancient Rome to France to Britain. They are still imposing it on us. That's the only thing that is unfair right now, because they have an ability to print money, to print dollar, print euro, print pound, but they're telling us we can't print our own money. And yet we're the one with gold, we're the one with natural resources, we're the one with human resources, we're the one with our muscles who are actually making things happen. It's us who are unearthing the gold that is right now shipped across the Atlantic, and it's sitting in the vaults in Europe. It's our gold. Now, how is it that you then pay us with printed money and we're giving you our life, because it takes a human life to go underground and inhale that condition that a human being should not be subjected to, you know. And then yet you come and you pay us peanuts for that gold. You say it's valueless, and then as soon as it crosses the Atlantic, you push the price 100 times and you sell it back to us. You know, now, where is the fairness here? Where is the fairness? So that means the only thing Africa needs to do to deal with this is we need to unite in 2025. So the question we should be asking, what would it take for sons and daughters of this continent to assemble and unite this hour by 2025, you know? So don't tell me excuses and stories why it can't be done. You know, whether language barrier or whether borders, and just the question is, what would it take? Now, because whatever answer you come up with, it's what we need to do, and we need to do it now. 2025, I don't want to do it when I'm dead. We want to do it in this hour. So let's come, let's do it. You know, we've been talking. Our parents, our ancestors have been dreaming. It was already 1963 when Kwame told everyone, Africa must unite now. So today we're talking about 2063. No, we shouldn't be talking Vision 2063. We should be talking Agenda 2025. So this is an open invitation to all of you who resonate with the agency. You don't want to die. You want to see a united Africa in your hour. So this is the hour. This is the invitation. Come, let's have this conversation. Let's shift Agenda 2025. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that invitation as well. And I would imagine, you know, that invitation to come and join the works of the Continental Party, excuse me, goes out to all Africans everywhere. So Giphy, as the communications person for the party, if people wanted to join, how could they join? What would they do?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. African Continental Unity Party is actually now globally. We have our links on some social media platforms. We actually want people to come, everybody, like we are all Africans. So we are supposed to join for us all to be able to just create or build a new Africa we'll all be proud of. So by joining, maybe you have to just register and then you join. But then we are all joining. We are all joining. We should join. And then in the simple way, you have to actually register for us to identify you or acknowledge you or know you are also part of the family. You are also part of us creating awareness and then also trying to liberate ourselves from these people, also trying to put our resources to actually build something meaningful for this generation and the generation to come. So maybe we can send the link to you, then you share it now in the chat for others to also know and then join. Thank you very much. But for the meantime, we are on Facebook, we are on TikTok, and the name is African Continental Unity Party. We have this as our logo. That is the African map, which has 3 colors in it, red, black, and blue. So anytime you see the African map like this, and you see ACUP, it means it is the African Continental Unity Party, and you can actually follow us on Facebook, X, that is Twitter, TikTok, and then all the social media handles, and you can reach out to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So family, you've been hearing it there. What wonderful t-shirts they are as well. And hopefully, you know, we can probably order our t-shirts as well to support the party and support the movement. So this is a party with a transformational strategy and policies that are designed to bring about the change within a very rapid space of time. And so hence why we need to be supporting this party. And to think that It's young people who are standing together across a borderless Africa in unity, in the spirit of oneness, because first and foremost, we are Africans, you know. Before our nationality, we're Africans. Before whoever we are, whatever religion we are Africans. Before our tribe, we're Africans. Before our clan, we are an African. So we shouldn't be put any people in anything in front of the fact that we are first and foremost Africans. And you see, this is how, and I agree, everything that you've been saying there, Mafanelo, as well. You know, they've been using nationality, the borders, and everything, to the religion, the tribalism, to divide us. And we have to stop allowing these things that they put in front of us to divide us. First and foremost, when we come out of our mother's womb, you know, we're an African. And when we walk down the street of America, if we're going to be lynched, it's not because we're a Christian or a Muslim or a Mandinka or a Sera or a Zulu or whatever. We're going to be lynched because we are melanated, you know, because we're Africans, okay? So when anybody looks at us, what the first thing they see is an African. You know, they're not seeing you as a Nigerian or a Ghanaian or a Zimbabwean or a South African. They're seeing you first and foremost as an African. And it's just like if you see a Chinese, you know, whether that Chinese is born in America, born in India, born in China, or born in the UK. First and foremost, they are a Chinese. Yeah, that Indian who's born in America or born in England or born in Australia, first and foremost, that Indian is an Indian, irrespective of where they're born. And similarly, as melanated people, whether we're born in America, England, Jamaica, or on the continent of Africa, first and foremost, we are Africans. Where we happen to be born on this one planet called Earth shouldn't make a difference whatsoever. So if you want to be part of this unity party, okay, family, as soon as I get the link, I will send that to you, okay? And yes, indeed, as Africans, we have everything we need, you know, but there's one thing that we all need that we don't have, and that's our right mind. Because if we were all in our right mind, family, we would know exactly what we need to do. That we could transform our situation tomorrow if we were in our right mind. If we were in our right mind, we wouldn't accept bits of paper for gold. If we were in our right mind, we wouldn't accept bits of paper for our uranium, for our diamonds, for our coltan and oil and everything else. If we were in our right mind, we would be building our factories and our plants and our industries on the continent of Africa, and we would be refining our raw materials and turning them into finished goods on the continent of Africa. If we were in our right mind, we would be supporting our people to be the best that they can be, so that they can contribute towards making Africa great again. If we were in our right mind, we wouldn't tolerate any misleaders to be leading us. We wouldn't tolerate treasonous, treacherous ones to be holding positions of power. We would remove them and have leaders, you know, who have our best interest at heart. If we were in our right mind, we wouldn't let their demonocracy control our economies. We wouldn't be, you know, dancing to their economic tunes that are unfair. How can you say that a country that's got a bank full of bits of paper is worth more than a country that's got so much mineral wealth? If we was in our right mind, we would say balls a dash to that economic system, because clearly, you know, it's unfair and it doesn't work. Hey, you know, if we were in our right mind, the change would happen overnight. So there's a huge job of work that needs to be done to get our people into their right minds. But the good thing is that we are waking up all around the world. And as we wake up, change is going to come. You know, and we have to wake up quickly, and we have to stop our continent from being exploited, because if our young people don't start getting the benefits that they deserve to get from their minerals and resources, then sadly, because they're not in their right mind, they're going to be looking to go to the West to bring all their skills and talents, and they will even die trying to make that journey. So yes, it's a young population. We need to have more young leaders, like the leaders that we've got, you know, with in positions of power and with budgets to organize, to develop their communities, to develop their villages, to be developing their towns and their cities. And the level of development and transformation that we want has got to happen everywhere, in every town, every city, in every region, and every part of the continent. That's what we want to see. So family, this is great to know that we've got young people who are in their right mind. And if you want to join them, I'll be posting the link. So keep it fit says, Health and Wealth says, ACUP rebuilding Africa, and it's putting all Africans first as well. Lumkwawa, good to have you in the house. Question, did African Americans vote to get the vote? Did African American vote to get the vote? Well, if you're talking about the president elections, yes, African Americans turned out in their numbers, especially the men who voted for Trump. May not be who you would have voted for, but that's what they did, because Kamala Harris, when she was chief prosecutor, she was locking up black men like she couldn't stand the sight of them. And so they paid her back by not giving her their vote. Oh, we got Sayal in the house. Rise up, brother Sayal. Another formidable leader on the African continent. Another young person who's doing amazing works in the region that they call Kenya. Rise up, beloved. We've got Lumkawa saying, my people, stop crying for them to love you. Stop sleepwalking. Indeed. You know, that's our problem. We love everybody, but people don't love us. You know, the Chinese knocks on our door, we welcome them with open arms. The Indians knock on our door, we welcome them with open arms. The white people knock on our door, we welcome them with open arms. But you try go to their country, they don't welcome you with open arms. Not at all. They abuse you, they exploit you, they don't want you in their country. They will tell you that. Time we started focusing on developing our own countries and stop trying to get people to love us who don't love us and don't want us. And also we need to stop worshiping their gods who look like them as well. We've got Mwali in the house who says, well done to these African unity initiatives and visions. How can I join and recruit people to join and support the AFUP? I will be posting the link in a little while. And let me tell you something that I picked up from the Trump, and then we're going to go back to the panel, but that I picked up from Trump's rallying campaign. He said that he did no less than, how many rallies was it, 700 or 900? I think it's 900 rallies he did to win this election. And that made me realize, you know, the amount of work that we all need to be doing as Pan-Africanists. If Trump, a 78-year-old man, can do 900 rallies across America to get the message out to his people, each and every one of us. And he did that, what, within months? Each and every one of us who need to get the message out to the people. You know, I think I'm doing enough YouTube shows, one a week. No, I really should be doing them every day at this rate, or twice a day at this rate. 900 rallies. You know, I've just been saying that we're not in our right mind. If we were in our right mind, change would happen overnight. But the only way that change is going to come is when we do the work that needs to be done to make sure that our people are in their right mind. And look at the pace at which we would need to be doing that work. We need to be having rallying campaigns, seminars, you know, conferences, meetings, debates, you know, 900 that 78-year-old man did to win the elections. That's what we've got to do to win the minds of our people. Okay, family, I think we've got the time to go around the board one more time. Let's bring in Brother Kwame Gonza again.
Thank you once again, Sister Shanice. So what we want to say to everyone, come and join the party. As you know, Queen Gift has told us. You can find us on all our social media networks. You know, just type in African Continental Unity Party. You will see us on Twitter. You will see us on Facebook. You will see us on X and YouTube. We are present on YouTube. We are always posting there. And you can find us also on our website if you want to register. Those who want to register, find us on our website on www.africanscup.org. We have posted that in the chat. Once again, .africanscup.org. www.africanscup.org. So you will get a lot of information
posted
there.
it in the
Yes.
chat as
Yes,
well.
you can register in there, and let's do the work. We have to understand that the work cannot be done in any generation. Our elder Franz Fanon said that every generation must find its mission, must capture its mission, find it and fulfill it or betray it. And we believe that our generation it has an opportunity to do something remarkable. And we are not oblivious to the challenges. We are not delusional people that we don't understand the challenges. We do, but we also understand that the task before us is much more important than the challenges that are before us at the same time. So the drive that we get is because of the importance of the task that has to be accomplished. The African people have suffered for so long, 600 years. For us, this is enough, not necessarily to make us ignore the challenges, but even so, it helps us to appreciate the challenges. It helps us to appreciate that this job has to be done within our generation. We cannot put this off again to the next generation. We have to leave. So what is driving us is that we have to leave a better continent for the next generation, whether it is those on the continent and those in the diaspora. We have to leave a better continent for the next generations, our children and grandchildren. We cannot leave it in the same way which it has been handed over to us. So this is what the youth of this generation actually are saying, that we cannot give a continent that is in a very bad state to our children and grandchildren. Is slavery. It's complete slavery that is going to happen if we do this. So we have to fight. We have to do our job. We have to contribute our quota, to this struggle so that we can reconstruct the continent. So we are very ready, and we have people who are full of responsibility. And they are responsible, unlike the heads of states that you are seeing on the continent. The problem they are suffering from is irresponsibility, because if you are a responsible person, you would not let the resources of your continent flow out and to go and build other civilizations, build Europe, build the United States, build Asia, okay, Japan and all these small countries, South Korea, they are all depending on Africa's resources to build themselves up. And that is why you see that they always having, Korea Africa Summit, Japan Africa Summit, is because they know what they are getting from this. They know how much they are exploiting the continent. So we cannot hand over the continent, which is in that kind of state, to our children. We have to do differently. We have to take back the resources of our continent to benefit our people. We have to call back our diaspora to come and contribute. And this is a key, this is a key component which Nkrumah understood very well, in the 60s when he came to power. That's why you saw that immediately after Nkrumah becoming leader of government, immediately said that I want all the African diaspora to flow to Ghana, come to Ghana and contribute to the building of the African continent. So this is what we see also, that this neo-colonial generation has neglected and disrespected the African diaspora, and it has not understood the position they're supposed to play in rebuilding our continent. That is number one. On the other side also, it has not understood the African private sector. So we want to give, the African Continental Unity Party is looking at giving, the African private sector a central role in reconstructing the African continent. If we want a road, there's no need why we should go and bring Indians or bring Americans and bring Chinese to build our roads when we have our own African private sector. So the African private sector in itself has been disrespected. It has not been appreciated, and it has been looked down on. That is why you see that our roads infrastructure, major infrastructure, has been built by foreigners. And the thing they don't understand is that these are all jobs. Infrastructure is not merely you bringing foreigners and building a road for you or building an interchange for you. That is not what infrastructure is, but rather your people themselves building that infrastructure, whether it is a building, the confidence they gain from that. When you look at the pyramids, you can see that we built the pyramid. They said the Egyptians built the pyramids. They don't say that the Asians and the Chinese came and built the pyramids for the Egyptians, or the United States came and built, the Europeans came and built the pyramids for the Egyptians, or the Kemetic people, the black people in Kemet. So this is the mindset that we want to change. We see these as all wrong approaches, okay? Because this is all loss of jobs. Because if you are building a civilization, when Nkrumah spoke, and say that we need to unify the African continent and do the reconstruction, what he basically means is the building of a civilization, of a rebuilding of a black civilization. Okay, and I hear a lot of people comparing many African countries to Singapore. We were at the same state after independence with Singapore and South Korea and stuff like that. But these are not civilizations. Singapore is a small island. South Korea is a small country. Okay, these are not civilizations. When Nkrumah spoke about rebuilding Africa, he's talking about the rebuilding of a civilization of a people, all right? He's talking about bringing back the identity of the people, the greatness of the people. These are the same things which Marcus Garvey always was talking about. Okay, so this is what Nkrumah was talking about. So this comparison with South Korea and Singapore and all these countries which have developed, these small countries, I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all, because what we have, our task is huge, is much bigger that we have to, to accomplish. And that is why he talked about the African personality and identity within our development, within our achievement, whether it is technology, whether the massive infrastructure that we put up by ourselves, even the railway which we are talking about here, and all the other infrastructure, our strategy is to have it built by Africans. If there's anything that has to come from outside and someone wants to come in and help, it is technology transfer. That is what we are talking about. He has to work basically with the Africans. The materials, everything which we have spoken about, we have arranged it in such a way we have that it has to come from Africa. The steel has to be used to build the railway platform itself, has to be owned by Africans. So this is our understanding of what infrastructural development is, what reconstruction is, of the African continent. So this is what is very different, from other groups that are going out there, whether it is the political parties across the continent, that we have a clear plan. We clearly know what we want to do, where we want to go. We understand the challenges, before us, but more so we understand the task before us that is much more important than the challenges themselves. So this is where we are looking, and we are inviting all Africans from all walks of life, whatever whatever you can do, whatever you can contribute, come and let's work together and come and learn about the SUP. Of course, you cannot learn in one day, just in one sitting, as we are speaking here. This is not enough time. These are just 2 hours. They are not even up to 2 hours. Within 1 hour is not enough for you to learn about a project that is going to reconstruct a full civilization of a people. So come, and then we'll explain to you what we are trying to do. Reach out to our websites, go to the websites there, register. Registering is just around $2. Register in there, get your card. The card will be generated automatically. Your national SUP ID, Continental identity card, and let's work together. We are open to ideas. That's the good thing about it. If you have your ideas, we give even the opportunity for you to build those ideas yourself, to lead the building of those particular ideas. I just joined the SUP, around the beginning of this year, and I'm in leadership position already. So that is the good thing about the SUP. Gift has just joined. The Queen Gift has just joined us. She's in leadership position already. So this is the beauty about what we are building, is that we are building a structure that will be even transferred to the whole African continent, governing it. So if you look at our structure at the global level, we have a rotating structure that we get to test the leaders, okay? Every period, or every 3 months. Right now we are testing 3 months. We give the leaders at the global level, and which we are going to transfer even at the national level. 3 months to test yourself, and the chair moves to another person. This is the true, we believe that this is the true democracy, and how it is supposed to be practiced, not in the sense of demagoguery, but rather competency. We want to test competency so that we can have the right people, leading our continent, even when we move forward. So as you have heard, We have everything arranged, whether it is leadership, whether it is economy. We have a clear plan of where we are going. So what we are asking for is the right people join, and let's build this thing together, because we have to do it in our generation. We cannot postpone this task anymore. Briefly, that's all I wanted to add in this particular instance, but people should join www.africansup.org and go out to Facebook, look for African Continental Unity Party, TikTok, go to X, formerly Twitter, and go to YouTube. You will see it, and reach out to us. We'll add you on our WhatsApp platforms, and let's work together on this important task, because we need the effort of every African across the globe. So thank you so much, everyone who's watching, and continue to support our platforms which are strictly African, like Sister Shanice Show. This is what we need. Go out there, support other platforms, Connect Africa and others. We need this. We need this because this is the building. We need to build African institutions because we cannot survive without institutions. This is very important. So everything else, development and all this is built on those institutions which we put up as a people, and that's definitely what the SUP is trying to accomplish in this generation. So thank you very much. Let me pass the microphone to Sister Shanice.
So thank you so much, Brother Kwame, doing phenomenal work. I love the works that the party is doing. And he was saying earlier, it's not a party, it's a movement, and what a vision as well. Thank you for reminding us and the people that we were the ones that built the pyramids. We were the founders of civilization itself, the first mathematicians, the first engineers, builders, writers, and Brother Fanella was reminding us, that we were the ones who built the civilizations across the entire world, and what we've got to remember is our former greatness. We've been put to sleep as a people, and we've been now, miseducated into believing that we're less than, when in fact we are greater than as a people. And in fact, sometimes we talk about skills transference, Brother Kwame, but, let me remind you that we do have the skills on the continent. I'm just looking here at my notes regarding the Zimbabwean inventor, Maxwell Chikumbumbuso. He built that TV set that he didn't even need to plug in. You don't even need electricity for his TV set to work. He built a helicopter that he didn't even need fuel. It ran without fuel. He built cars that ran without fuel. He was developing magnetic converters. And we've got, Africans who somehow managed to get water out of the atmosphere so we can have water wherever we are in the world. We've got so many great inventors, so many great African inventors of the internet, inventors of bullet trains, so many inventors all across the continent and in America as well, because we are creative people. But what we need is the infrastructure and the confidence as Africans to allow our geniuses to do the work that they need to do. When we get a scientist like Maxwell Chikumbumbuso, he's not supposed to be allowed to go to America. African millionaires and billionaires need to invest in him and build machinery plants so that we get orders and conveyor belts of cars that are running, off of water or what have you. He shouldn't be taking those skills everywhere. We are the ones who invented the drones, and here we are selling the technology to the American military, and then 10 years down the line, they're using it against us. It's time we started valuing our scientists, valuing our engineers, valuing our doctors, valuing the great ones that we have who are doing the work abroad, to make America and to make the West great, when they should really be doing that work at home. These young people, family, are the leaders of tomorrow. And we need every young person on the continent of Africa to join this party and to get with the vision, because that then would mean that every young person would be a leader in their own right, and they would all be testing their competence. They would all be looking to excel. They would all know what to do when they get into positions of leadership. Every talented engineer and scientist needs to be given, their own house, their own institution, their own everything, so that they can build the country. You know, there should be, the government should have budgets there for scientists, for engineers, because this is the future of tomorrow. You know, these are young people who could have our own African satellites up in the air. And they're so inventive and so creative as a people. And that's how we built our earlier civilizations, because we are so inventive and so creative as a people. You know, invented mathematics, all the scientists, the metals. You know, you talked about the Industrial Revolution. Europe's Industrial Revolution was based on the technology of Jamaicans. Jamaicans were actually the ones who were smelting the steel, and these people stole, you know, the technology from them and brought it to Europe, and it sparked the Industrial Revolution. But then the Jamaicans who were doing it on the plantations were from parts of Europe, the original Africans who were living in Europe, and Africans from the continent who were working together in this steel plant. But if we go back into African history, tens of thousands of years ago, we were smelting steel back then. Look at the African craft. I came across a Benin bronze just recently that was sold in the British, I would call it black market, but they call it the auction market, for £10 million. A Benin bronze valued at £10 million in the auction. So behind our backs, they value our works. They value our creativity. They value everything we do. But to our face, they give us the impression that what we do is insignificant and of no relevance. And unfortunately, most of us believe that. But family, don't believe the hype. You are greater than you can even begin to imagine. Wow, wow, wow. I'm just going to bring in a couple of our audience members, and then we'll go over to you, Mafanello, and then we'll finish off with our beautiful queen, Gifty. So let's see what comments we've got in the house. Lama saying, great talk, sir. Afriri Oscar is saying, well done. S.A. Smith is saying, wow, I did not know that. That might be the, you know, it was the Jamaican that sparked the Industrial Revolution. Is that what it is? Kwame Aboje is saying, Garvey and Nkrumah both told us Africans to do for ourselves. Absolutely. You know, their miseducation system is saying that we have to look to them to do everything, and we believe it, you know, when in fact, you know, they need our brains because we are the creative ones. Malay says, thank you, our sister Queen Shanice, for the work you're doing promoting our own true narrative. Thank you so, so much. Rise Up Brother Anthony in the house says, do you have a charter of rights for the African produced by the African? Do we have a charter of rights? Well, I know we need our own patenting office. Imagine you come up with an invention in Africa and you have to take your invention to the patent office in America, tell them about your invention, give them all of the secrets of how you did it in order for them to patent it. Come on now, come on. You know, anything that we create, we have to have an element of secrecy about it. We shouldn't be running with our inventions abroad and telling them how we did it, how we made vehicles to run on water, how we made vehicles to run without electricity or without fuel, or how we, you know, these are our inventions, and societies become great because they're the only ones that have the knowledge of that particular technology and how it works. We have to start keeping the secrets of our inventions to ourselves. They can see it in operation, but we are not to tell people how we did it. Afrika is saying, love you all, love, black at you, beloved. Let's see what we've got going on in the chat here. Brother Kwame, Rise Up is saying, Africans must build for ourselves and not non-Africans. Absolutely. You know, if we don't focus on building Africa, and if we continue building America or building Britain or building China or building America, can we complain if Africa is underdeveloped? If we allow the brain drain to continue, if we allow them to come into Africa and recruit all of our most talented and our most skilled and our most gifted to go to Europe and work in Europe, you know, is it hardly surprising that we're going to be struggling to find those, you know, with the gifts and talents that's needed? No, this is why the governments must invest in their own talent. African governments must make sure that their most talented and their most creative remain in Africa, and they must reward them to remain, pay them to remain, allow them to have the budget in order to develop what needs to be developed, because that's what they do abroad. Do they not? Rise up, Brother Kwame, who says, Kwame, whatever we face as African men and women, we are fearless. Shay, we have to be fearless indeed. Don't worry, you know, if you believe in reincarnation, we'll come back. So do what you need to do today so that when you come back at a later time, yeah, things are good. All right, that's what we need to do. Rise up, Miriam in the house. She's rising up the ACUP and sending out love. We've got Baba Clark. He's saying, Baba Clark, we don't have any friends. Yes, Kwame's reminding us we don't have any friends. And Afi is saying, I really like the way you talk, Giffy. Well, keep it locked. Giffy's going to be coming back again. My brother, Fanelio, it's been awesome hearing you talk today. And we're going to hear from you again right now with some closing remarks. Over to you.
Wow, thank you so much to your listeners and Ndlovukazi. We love every son and daughter of this continent. Yes, we find ourselves in a unique generation. We are the generation that our ancestors were dreaming about, that one day will unite and bring African solidarity. In our lifetime, we will witness Africa come together. The multipolar world is allowing Africa to be sovereign. Not to be afraid again of being terrorized and bullied by nobody. We're not afraid of sanctions. We're not afraid of anything now. So the West has failed Africa in an immense way. You know, they have not solved global warming. They have not created peace. They've only brought guns and bombs and nuclear bombs. You know, they are not even embarrassed by leaving a person without a home on their street and then send mission to Mars and spend billions, 225 billion US dollars. Just NASA sends missions, blow that cash for nothing in return with the hope of finding something. Yet you leave a man living on the street without food tonight. What kind of a nation is that? So perhaps we need to remind the West that it's about African Ubuntu. Ubuntu means we value life more than we value profits. It's about life. Not a single man must sleep without food. Not a single man must sleep without a proper home and a proper shelter and access to land and access to mineral resources so that we express our talents in beneficiating that and making all the useful things. The world will be a beautiful place today if we considered African Ubuntu. You care for your neighbor. You care what happens to your neighbor. You know, you don't turn a blind eye. You don't just build high walls and security walls and say, I'm better off. I don't care about the guy next door. No, that's not Africa. That's not our way. In fact, we are embarrassed because we were the first on earth. If you look at all the natives across the globe, all the beautiful melanated people, they were in harmony with nature, even with animals, even with trees, even with waters, the mountains, rivers. They never pollute, they never desecrate. But these people come and desecrate the waters, desecrate the fish, the elephants, the rhino, and the mountains. They change everything. They create weapons of mass destruction. Who spends billions making weapons of mass destruction when people are hungry? You know, why don't you rather change the gear and, you know, humanitarian help Gaza, help Congo DRC stop the war and build proper food and shelter? What about, you know, come on, we can do better. And I think it's time for Africa to show the world how it's done. The world has failed dismally. They don't know what to do. The global economy is crashing. It's their fault. They created the debt bubble. They created the greed. They've left the corporate unchecked. In fact, they praise people who are destroyers. All of the people they celebrate, the names they celebrate, they're saying the so-called wealthy. Check their records. They have caused atrocities in Africa. Atrocities, even in their own families in the US. Everybody's a slave to this capital. Everybody, manje, media is dictated to by this. Politicians are dictated to this by this capital. Industry, education. I mean, come on. How far must they destroy the world before we wake up and do something about it? So not under our watch. This is our invitation. Those of you who care, do not sleep tonight, but make a decision and a resolution that Africa will unite in our lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Africa is waking up. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Wake up, Africa. You are what we are waiting for. It's what the world waits on Africa. The animal kingdom needs Africans to wake up and to take charge. The marine life needs Africans to wake up and to take charge. People around the world who are impoverished, who are starving, who are facing all sorts of atrocities need Africans to wake up and take charge. You know, the planet needs Africans to wake up and take charge. But we need the Africans to wake up and take charge, to be in their right mind, because we are the rightful ones to protect the planet. We're the rightful ones to protect the animal kingdom, to protect the marine life, we are the protectors of this planet. But we've got to wake up and step up into our rightful position. And this is the generation coming up, family, that I think is going to be the one to make it happen. Oh, I hope I live to see the day. Thank you so much for that. Let's go over to our Queen Gifty. Rise up, Gifty. Let's have some closing remarks from you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Nkrumah once said, actions without thoughts are actually blind. I want to challenge the women in this. When we take our population, for instance, Africa, women are more than men. But when it comes to freedom fighting, we sometimes leave it in the hands of the men, and we support though, but we don't actually come to the front page. So I want to tell each African here, African mothers, women, young ladies like me, myself, I want to challenge you people to believe in yourself, that we can all do this together, because the generation to be yet born, if we don't do this for them, we actually don't know what is going to happen. So the ladies, the women, our moms, my sisters, we should actually put our hands together, come together, and then know that we can do this. We should not sit back and then just watch the men as they do it. No, we should also come and then help. We should help massively, because if we leave this, if we don't preach this, if we don't actually think of this, and we just follow this Americans, we are attracted to I mean, the nice things, I don't know, like traveling there, getting jobs and all that. We should also think that we can do it here, so that we can actually create this African continent to be a very wonderful place. Else there will be nowhere to be called home. When you go there, you travel to the diaspora, and there's nothing good here to talk about. You cannot come back here. And when you don't come back here, who will actually identify you there? Because Ghanaians or Africans as a whole, as Sista Shanice said, when we go there, they don't actually embrace us with both hands. They sometimes they even look down on us because we have black skin, because of all the history they've had, and they are planning against us. But when they come here, we actually embrace them. We want to care for them. We actually pay attention to whatever they are doing. to they are doing or they are bringing here, they don't really bring anything, just tourism and some one or two things. But then if we think about this deeply, we will know that we have to create a new Africa. We have to unite so that we can actually get something of our own. We can actually do some things on our own. In fact, we can do all things on our own. So we have to rethink about this and then know that as ladies as well, or as women, we can actually help the men, or as Africans, as Black people, we can all come together and then push the African continent to where it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely agree. We can't leave it all entirely to the men, far from it. You know, women and young ladies have got to take up their position as well. And bearing in mind, you know, that the women are the ones that bring, you know, the boys into this world. The women need to be in the right mind as well, so they can be the ones to educate the children, to have the Garvey mindset, to have the Nkrumah mindset. You know, if every woman was nurturing her child to have the Garvey mindset, to have the Nkrumah mindset, to have the Magufuli mindset, to have the mindset of Sankara and Mugabe and all those great revolutionary. If we as women all had that knowledge to nurture our children, to give them that mindset within a generation, there would definitely be the change. And, you know, as women, you know, our primary concern is usually about the family. It's about the children. It's making sure there's food on the table. If money goes into the hands of the woman, all the family eats. Sometimes when the money goes into the hands of the man, he just goes buy new clothes, new car, new something to flash off in, you know. But the women, hey, you know, it's about the home, it's about the family, and the men, we need to support them and groom them as well to make sure that they can be the best that they can be, so that they can materialize all of their skills and all of their talents as well. So we've definitely got an important role to play. So on closing, let me just go over to the chat and thank each and every one of you for the contribution that you have been making. We've actually posted in the chat the link to the ACUP or SUP, so you can get in touch with them. Miriam says, yes, my sister, on the battlefield, men and women. Yes, indeed. And we've got the Garvey colors there as well. Kwame's agreeing with you as well, Sister Giffy. He's saying exactly, we are stooges to these demons of the West. Oh, we've lost Kwame Konza there. And Afiri is saying, bravo, Gifty, bravo. Amazing talk from Gifty. Rise up, rise up. Really love this young girl, Gifty. So please be encouraged. Let Gifty be an inspiration to all you young girls, all you young potential leaders out there. You know, get in touch. We need more of you. Brother Leo is saying it is only Africans that can bring back Ma'at into the planet. Absolutely. We want to rise up. Brother Geb in the house as well. Good to have you in the house. S.A. Smith says, that is how I see it too. The world is waiting for Africa to restore order. Absolutely. You know, as was mentioned before, as a people, we were at one with nature. We were at one with the animal kingdom. In fact, to make sure that we didn't, you know, eliminate or make any of the species extinct, we had animals as our totems. You know, so, you know, we would protect those animals. We would, you know, look to the animals to make sure that their needs were catered for. You know, we wouldn't go hunting elephants for game, to shoot them for money and for fun to the verge of extinction. That is just not in our nature. You know, hence why we've still got all of these wonderful animals in Africa, yet there are very few of these wonderful animals in so many other parts of the world. Because, you know, these people in the other parts of the world, they're all about destruction, murder, killing. Oh, don't, time to wrap up the show, so don't let me leave it there. But yes, the world is waiting for us as Africans. Yeah, the original people are with humanity. For the world, for the planet, and for the kingdom. The entire planet is waiting for us to wake up and to take our rightful position. So join this party, each and every one of you, support them in the work that they're doing. Go to their Facebook page, buy one of their t-shirts. Let's all buy a t-shirt so that we can support the works of this party. Brother Kwame, thank you so, so much. Brother Gifty, thank you so, so much. Brother Fenelio, thank you so, so much. To each and every one of you who've been supporting us in the audience, thank you so much. Please remember to give us a like and to subscribe. Be back next time. When we're back, next Wednesday, same time. See you again. Sister Shanice, out of here for now. Bye for now, family.